I think the MVP potentially is a little bit more interesting, given to the player who has a great statistical season with a bit of narrative sprinkled in. Um, Obviously, I think we can safely agree that Jokic probably won't go three-time MVP unless he averages an even better PER because they seem to love his analytics. So, you naturally look down the list, you say, well, Giannis was very strong pretty much every season, but he's already won it. Is there voter fatigue? Joel Embiid's definitely chasing that first one, and he was right there last season. But the one thing that made me weary about Joel Embiid is it's the health, right? So we kind of know that he's not going to play a lot of games. 60 is a very ambitious guess for him, and sometimes that's not enough to win the MVP. And I guess I'm giving credit to the man who I probably should convert teams for and buy the jersey of. I think Luka Doncic, after the EuroLeague focus, I think after coming really close in the Western Conference Finals, not as in that series, but getting to the Western Conference Finals, I think he kind of will mature a little bit from the experience of he's clearly good enough to get there. The teams had a minor upgrade and, Christian Wood coming along and JaVale McGee as well, two really good bigs to bounce off him. So I reckon he's going to have a more efficient season, get around that 30-10 mark for the points and assists and, sprinkle in the rebounds. And, it'll almost become a case of how long are we going to let him be great until we give him an MVP. So Luka is my pick for MVP so far.
Look, I love Luka. It's funny. Not only did Luka break the Suns' heart, he's also recruited you over. Wow, that's another Mavs win there by the sounds of it. But look, I had Luka on my list. I definitely think he's going to be in the consideration there, top 3 or top 5. Giannis, like you said, Jokic, no doubt, put up stats again. And I think Kawhi, probably could also really get in that conversation. We really missed him last year, and the sort of player that he can be. But I'm going to go, this is the year for Joel Embiid. I think he's going to put it together. I think you saw him put it together last year, and you saw what the Sixers could do despite the turmoil around like the Simmons situation. And like you said earlier, that now they're going to get Harden into training camp and the full season with him under the belt. I think Harden's made it clear with his willingness to sort of sacrifice some dollars that he's in it to win, and his stats aren't that important for him. Tyrese Maxey's going to obviously gobble up shots and things like that on the in the backcourt there as well, and rightly so. And I guess that leaves Embiid really your leading man there for the Sixers. And again, like any of these picks, really, pending injury setback, I think he's going to easily average potentially another 30 and 12 sort of season, which is probably going to offset any sort of Luka's production in that sort of sense. And I think obviously, the Sixers will probably finish in that sort of top 4 bracket there. Whereas the Mavs, honestly, they could be really fighting for that play-in spot, potentially even out in the West, especially, depending, you're picking, you're high on the Wolves, and I'm high on the Pelicans. There's not enough spots there in the top 6 in the West at the moment, sort of thing. So, so I'm saying Joel Embiid is going to get his first MVP here.
It's not a terrible pick. I reckon by the end of the season, we could both be looking at those two competing against us. So,
Absolutely.
It's a sensible pick. It's not like we pick Zion, be like he's back. We're gonna